All right. We're back. The Get Made podcast. I got my special guest, brother Khalil Muhammad, entrepreneur extraordinaire, community minded, community service man, and best definitely one who supports his community and supports manhood to its fullest. And so, we left off talking about some of the ways we got to a particular thing, right? So here we are in this segment, right? We want to talk about the cure because a lot of time are some prevention or some cure for this, right? Because a lot of times we can do a whole segment, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes of the problem, 5 minutes of solution, 10 minutes of advertisement. You know what I mean? But definitely here we do something a little different. And those who like it love it, those who don't, right? And we just gonna keep that mindset of trying to service the people to the best way we can. So in this, Khalil,
Yes, sir.
how can we institute the training? I know you talked about learning parenting from some type of academic and probably some engagement aspects. We in, got more engagement than we probably do some learning going on, right? When it comes to parenting. But what else can we do that can help us develop young men into becoming and more importantly, I really want to be specific here. We push college on children so much,
Mm.
right? That a lot of us who've been to college probably not working the jobs that we went to school for, right? We're doing something else, or we're working for somebody else, but we forget about the whole level of trade or having a skill, right? How can we tap into the young man who really want to learn how to work with his hands, right? And who want to be certified in this? How can we promote that?
That's a good one. Well, I've been doing it for over 20 years. I have trained more young Black men, like I said in the other episode, than I count and put them into business. Um, One of my techniques, in which I learned again from studying human behavior, is first of all, if you want some good to produce some good from it, is love. Is showing them love. Because you're not
Mm,
even going to be able to communicate with them properly without love. They'll roll their eyes at you. They'll talk to me about you, saying how much of a joke you are, right?
mhm,
So building a relationship with them. I think that's first and foremost, because the reality in making money is that when you know who you are and you love yourself and you know who your Lord is, when you have that kind of confidence, right?
mhm,
You
mhm,
know that anything is basically possible for you. You have that kind of tawakkul with Allah, right? We
mhm,
also have to build that love with each other, especially with our younger people, right? There's no
mhm,
love. That's why they're thirsty for dopamine, right? Somebody need to write a book on, you know, dopamine thirst trap, right? So
mhm,
they're thirsty for it because they're not getting it, right?
mhm,
So we can't build them unless we build them from within first. So that's what I do, with my guys. I build from within first. And usually later on they're like, hey bro, can I get on that job with you guys, right? Can I come and learn the trade? So it's the love and respect must be built, right? Because anything that's not built on that foundation is going to
mhm,
continue to crumble. Like,
mhm.
I don't have guys going into jobs stealing, right? I
Right.
tell my customer, you can leave your Rolex on the table. I don't care if I got this guy off the street. I promise you, leave your purse open. Don't close your purse because nothing's getting stole on my watch, right?
Hmm.
So I built this kind of relationship with people in which has developed into a trust, right?
Hmm.
So since 1994, I don't have that problem of thievery, right?
Hmm.
So to help build our young men for, to start in construction or to do anything, we have to build a relationship with them, really get to know them, spend time with them. And I don't know how you would articulate this, but have a judgment free zone kind of like thing, right?
Hmm.
Where they can feel safe. I mean, you don't want them to go all out of line, right?
Right.
But where you can communicate with them, right? And build that trust.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So I really want to tap into that because you're talking about establishing trust, right? And this is seeming like this is the key to be able to get in anybody's ear is if they trust
Right?
you,
Right.
right? Okay. And so, but it seemingly feels like there's this constant gap that doesn't allow us to cross over to one another. It's like it's there. And how do we bridge that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who has that gap, man, because I'm telling you, Allah bless me. I don't have that gap,
Mm.
right?
So, but how did you establish yourself to not have that gap? How what was you able to do? I think that's a very important that because you don't have it, then tell us how not to have it.
Right. And I just said it, building
Okay.
relationships,
Okay. Mm.
authentic relationships, spending time with them without being a jerk, right?
Right.
Learning how they communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to sit in a conversation with them, right? To the point where they want you around. They'll start calling you for information. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's children here that won't even start fasting in Ramadan unless they ask me, and I'm a nobody. They'll ask
Right.
me, "Is it really the moon, brother? Did they really?" Yes, brother. You can trust them, right?
Right.
Right,
Right.
right. Because I'm calling them myself, right,
Mm-hmm.
to find out my own self. So, and it's nothing magical. It's nothing spooky, right? You gotta do the inner work to build patience, to build this
Mm-hmm.
relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Today I had to do something, right? And I needed some help. My guys are on the job, they're on the job right now. So I had to go get an extra guy. So I went and just randomly knocked on the door where all the young Muslim, what they call themselves, ox, where they hang at.
The
I was
ox. The
like, bro,
ox. Mm-hmm.
I said, I need one of the ox to come help me right now. They were asleep. They got up, they put the clothes on, they came with me, and we had a good time. We communicated, and sometimes you can Google a little bit about rap music. They listen to it. I'm sorry. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It ain't going nowhere. It's not
It
going
ain't going
anywhere.
nowhere. They're not
Right.
gonna stop right
Right.
now until you
Not right
grow
now.
them.
Right.
If you
Right.
grow them, or they have to want to grow themselves, that's
Right.
another thing. You're not going to
Right.
be able to save every young man. Noah couldn't save his son. Every young
Right.
man will not be saved, right? You have
Right.
to focus your energy on those that want to be saved. And you sometimes can see that inclination of desire of them wanting to be saved or needing help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of focus on those, right? Who, there are some out here that play games,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, you don't waste your
I mean,
time.
there's always fringe, right? There's always a fringe, and one of the things I really hate doing is focusing so much on the fringe, right? It's
Right.
like the brother who ain't gonna take care of his kid. Not everybody ain't like that,
Yeah,
you
we ain't
know.
like
Or
everybody ain't
the
like that. The whole
or the
house is
woman who
not like that.
right, or the woman who just mouthy. Every woman's not like that. You know
No.
what I mean? And so we have so much focus in on the fringe, to where
That-
it's like the middle, the inside doesn't get any attention. So then it slides off into situations of ignorance, if you can.
right.
That's what I like to call it, because
But
they don't know. A lot of
if
times they just don't know.
they don't know. If you look at, like, I don't know how to plant flowers, but I'm sure before you plant a flower, you have to prep the dirt.
Right.
When we're doing construction, we have to prep the house, right? We have to
Mhm.
take all the nails out. There are things that you have to do with
Mhm.
everything. Everything needs prepping. Before I wrote this book, right? I thought
Mhm.
I had it. When I gave it to the editor, she's like, no, right? We
Right.
had to go through. We had to go through
Mhm.
it all over. There's steps to it. You
Right.
just can't say, no, this is it. No,
Right.
you can't just
Yeah.
go to
Oh
them.
my God, man. I learned that in this book here, man. I thought I was ready. This book was supposed to get released before Thanksgiving. Right.
I
And
hated my editor. Now I love them. I
uh,
love them, but we fought. I was like, you're
mhm.
not going to take that paragraph out of my book. She said,
Right.
it's gone. Right.
Right. Right. And,
But
oh my
now I
God.
love my editor.
Right. I mean, my virtual assistant, right? She was like, "Oh my God, Mr. Hassan. Oh my God, Mr. Hassan. Did she do it?" Then we got to figure because then after we did all the edits, then here come Amazon, right? Talking about what they didn't want, what you got to change, and all this old type of stuff here,
Right.
right? And so it was a lot that came into not just in the actual writing of a book, as you say, the prep work that even had before you can even publish the book. You know
Same
what I mean?
thing with a young man. You got
Mm-hmm.
to do the prep work. The prep work are you spending time with them? Are you your own selves, meaning us as, the adults, are we building something for them? Or are we going to talk to them with nothing? We wasted our life away, and now we want them to listen to us, kind of like you said, the situation with the father, the stepfather, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not seeing a father raise him, but now he wants to come and be the commander in chief over you. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what have you done? Right? Why should I listen to you? Like, who are you? What are you doing?
Right. Help me,
So,
help me, help me. Help me
right,
let
right,
me in a
right,
sense, right?
right.
So
And so,
tell
and,
me
and,
how
and that's,
to. Mm-hmm.
you see that in our community big time, in these masjids. It's like all of these people giving advice, brother. What are you doing? How are you spending the precious time that Allah has given you to advance your life so that you can inspire these younger people? You're not doing nothing. So why am I going to listen to you? And
Right.
the kids, like I noticed, or the children here in Detroit, I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that they like to hang at gas stations, right? And a lot of the parents are upset about that, our children hanging at gas stations, but they're seeing this young Arab guy running this gas station that his father gave him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gravitates them. We have, well, I don't like when people do it and say we don't have nothing for them, because some of us do, right? But we need more, right, in order to gravitate them so they can look at us and say, hey, I need your advice. I see you doing your thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until then, they're going to look at the rappers. They hear the sheikh, they hear the imam. Water is off in the masjid about to fall down, and,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all hell is breaking loose in the community. They see through that. They don't want to hear
Mm-hmm.
from you. They only respect you because it's their responsibility to be there at the masjid, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if you wasn't a Muslim, you might catch a problem out of them. They might rob you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Right. I
saying?
mean,
Right,
you might be a mark for real.
right, right,
For real.
right. But
You
because
might.
you're a Muslim, you got to pass, because that's just the way I've seen it. I've witnessed it, So for me, is to first, I build them up. I tell every young man, or even back in the day, I used to have sisters working too, but the
Mm-hmm.
brothers would marry them. You know what I mean? I'm like,
All
dang,
right.
man, the sisters was better than the brothers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I pump them up all day, teaching them all day long. So I tell them, after what I've given you, man, if you don't succeed, shame on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm giving it to you. I'm taking you places that, you know, a lot of people have never seen, meaning like we work in a lot of white people's homes. I mean, multi-million dollar homes, not every day, but a lot,
Right.
right? So they get to see these things and they get to see how white people, may God bless all people, but they get to see how white people are not always what you're seeing on the media. They
Right.
see them yelling at their children. They see the craziness inside of the household, right? And
Hmm.
so it's like, wow, right? And and they're like, man, they also see that it didn't take a whole lot of intelligence for them to buy that big house. Because
Hmm.
they're seeing them inside of their home and they're like, wow, if you can have that, and I've seen you for the last week that I've been in this house, and I can have it too, right?
Hmm.
So it's a beautiful thing, man. We just got to build that trust, build something for them first ourselves beyond the mouthpiece, right?
Hmm.
Then, you know, maybe we can pull.
What is your idea about pointing them towards education as far as
Well,
the trade is concerned?
I missed
Right.
you. I missed it. What you said?
Okay. What is your thoughts about pointing them towards education as far as trade is concerned? Like sending them back to technical schools or things of that nature there. What is your thoughts in that?
I tell them to do it all the time. I mean,
Hmm.
but in our community here, we have so many tradesmen. It's like you can go a unk. You can go a unk in the masjid and you can go to his university and learn. But I mean, if you want to go to, we all went to trade schools. I did in the beginning. Uh, so we did it. But I mean,
Is it a stepping stone as far as, and I hate to say it this way, for lack of a better way of saying it, but legitimacy, right? It's like, I know in my field, everybody got to come up with some lambskin on the walls and all this other type of stuff here to show
yes,
that completed
yeah.
something, right? Is that the same situation as far as skills concerned, skill set and trades is concerned? Does
It depends on like if you're doing something like electrical. Sometimes the electrical guys may want to go. Sometimes the plumbers they may want to go. So yeah, so it all depends on which trade. So some of the trades actually I take back what I said. So some of the trades, yes, if it's
okay?
electrical or plumbing, but if it's
Mm.
roofing, I mean, or we went for masonry. So it all
Okay,
depends on
right,
what it
because
is.
right because I know with us a lot of times, we the last one hired, first one fired type of stuff. But and then we have a lot of skills. I know, like growing up, I know a lot many men who knew how to, lay them bricks, and they went to school the first,
No,
right?
right,
But sometimes, depending on where you were, depending on where, and I know, especially in the Midwest, it's not so much down south because they're not really here. A lot of things are unionized,
right,
right? And then so you run into a lot of union shop type work
right.
where you got to have some type of credential or credibility behind you even to get into those apprenticeship programs and things of that nature there where you can get recognized.
But how
So
many how many
okay.
hundreds of millions of homes are in the United States? Right? It's
Hmm.
Do you really have to do that? What you
Mm.
really want to learn is marketing, right?
Okay. All right. All right.
Marketing is what you want to learn. It's just like with the art, and you learn marketing, you can be a total bum
Hmm.
and continue to get jobs because you can reach the people. You
Yeah,
can
I
be,
know
you,
speakers like that. I know speakers like that. Couldn't
yeah,
say
they're
anybody,
horrible.
but their marketing is great.
The
Hmm.
marketing is like, I hope Les Brown do not hear this, right? But because I love you, Les Brown. He's the one that got me started.
Hmm.
But I can hear through his stuff and hear the
Right.
bull crap,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Right. I can hear it, right? And I love you, Tony Robbins, and I hope you don't see this show, right?
Right.
I can hear his game.
Right.
right? I can hear who he stole from. He stole from Reverend, remember Reverend Ike from New
I
York?
like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oprah Winfrey. I hope she don't hear this show, right? But they stole from Reverend Ike.
Mm-hmm.
TD Jakes
Mm-hmm.
stole from Reverend Ike, right? So I can hear other people's words in their teachings because I've been doing this for a long time. So I mean, hey, I don't know, man.
Well,
You know,
and again, like you say, it's not a matter of we're pointing out some things or why people shouldn't do versus just talking about a person,
right,
right? So I want to definitely make sure that that's clear. But we
right,
see where people got certain things from. They
right.
marketed themselves. They may not be
Marketing is the key.
right.
That's
They
what
may
I,
not
that was
be.
the point. The point
Mm,
was marketing was is the key. You know,
right.
if you're a good marketer, if you learn marketing like Les Brown, he learns how to market. He says the
Right.
same story over and over again. He knows how to market, right?
Mm,
He
mm-hmm.
works even today. If you go see Les Brown, he's working. You got to
Right.
know marketing is key to success.
Right.
Tony Robbins is a marketer. Marketing is key. If you can market, it doesn't matter how good you are. Although to me, being good is very important. But if you know how to market it, just I believe this book is excellent, right? I believe this is a very important book to have. But at the same time, who will ever see it if we don't learn how to market our
Market
books?
it.
Yeah,
Exactly. 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 So then we talk about marketing and then having the opportunity to sit down and get trained on how to market because I'm hearing you say I can be someone like I have a mechanic. I give you an example. I have a mechanic. I've been dealing with this man. He's a mobile mechanic. I've been dealing with this guy 23 years, 24 years. Right. He doesn't work on any my cars do not get worked on by anybody but him.
right.
Right. And now it's not I mean, of course he does quality work and I got to meet him. And he has a word of mouth marketing at this point, right? He's not putting any flyers out. He's not doing this and doing that. Guy's proficient in his trade. He has all the tools. It's not, he's not trying to use a socket wrench that's too big and then trying to make it work. You know what I mean? He's good. He got the computerized stuff. He keeps up with time. This dude is 75, 70 something
Mm,
years old,
mm,
right? I know easy out of his truck, man, cash money. He say he do taxes. I know this dude at least 150, 250,000 a year.
mm,
Easy, easy. And he don't have high prices. He's good. He's quick. He's never coming back to redo some work,
mm.
right? Because he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Because he's done it right the first time, right? And I mean, he doing what, 4, 5, 6 cars a day. He's working 5, 6 days a week. And I mean, me, my mind, I put my mind in the money. Man, how much this dude making? If he's an average of $300, $400, $200, $300 a
Mm.
while, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's making money, right?
Lots of it.
So, and lots of it. Now we talking about in this day and time, because I asked him, man, won't you get you a young guy you can teach? He told me, don't nobody want to do
Hmm. Yeah,
it, right?
man, because, and I hate to say this, man, I don't know him, but a lot of times they do. You got to be in the community.
Right.
You have to be involved. I used to tell non-Muslims, they would ask me, how did you get these guys? Like they like, how did you get them? I said, well, you go to church. Are you involved in your church? Do you get involved with the young guys in your church? And girls too, they like to work. Do you get involved with them? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's bumping into the wrong kind of people.
Oh no, he's not. He's not. He's not. To be honest with you, he's not touching none of that. Right? I know. I know he's not touching that. But it's like you try to, and it goes back to what we saying earlier. And I think you made a point here is how to get them enthused about
Mhm, mhm.
working. I mean, it's like, why is Uber so popular with younger people,
Mm,
right? What was the message that Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, and Uber Eats and all that gave to because to me it's kind of like a waste of time. You burning up your car. Did you go
right.
all over Instacart and all that? You burn it up. You putting a lot of miles and gas on your car,
But I
right?
think they do that a lot from what I've noticed with so many of the younger people. They usually have this goal. Some of the goals are imaginary, some of them are real goals, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have these goals that they want to achieve, and they sometimes don't want to be locked down, uh, in other places, right? And that
Right,
gives them freedom. So,
right.
one of the things that I do in the work that I do is I give them some freedom, right?
Mm,
They
mm,
like the boss, they like the boss just like me,
mm,
right? So I'm not yelling at them and like I travel, man. Sometimes I'll be gone forever.
mm-hmm.
These young brothers are doing it. They're putting the money, they collecting the money, communicating with the customer. They know what to say now. They're responsible. They drive my new truck. I leave with my new truck. They park it, they maintain it. So, it's good training and stuff like that. It's just important. But yeah.
I think because I was going to ask about this a little earlier in our first segment, and now that we're here in the second one, that work life balance, right? And I know that the idea of Uber and Lyft and all that, because it's
Gives them
not,
that freedom,
it gives them that freedom,
makes
right?
them feel in charge.
Right, right.
But you
And
have to
so,
do the same thing.
got
Yeah.
you, because this is just a new economy. This is just a new generation,
Yeah.
and they value their, I won't call it leisure time, but they value their time.
Yeah, their freedom.
Right, right. And so if you can then be in a position of being able to talk to them based upon that, I'm gathering this is what you're saying. Part of the problem is we're not talking. No, they don't want to go to one of these jobs where they got to clock in.
Oh
Not,
no.
you know what? I don't even want to go nowhere I'm clocking in. That's
We
why I
ain't
started
want to
working.
go. They saw their
Exactly.
granddaddy. They saw their granddaddy do that already. They like, no way.
Right. No way. No way. Nobody gonna be telling me what to do. I mean, the moment I start working for somebody, it's like, man, this is what freedom look like. You know what I
Eight
mean?
hours and you got it stuck in there. They tell you you can't make salat, you can't go to Juma. I had a young brother, he's a model. I love him. I love him. I love him. And he probably see this video because it's on my page. But
Okay.
he asked me, he works at General Motors, and he's like, yo, bro, can I come back and work for you? But I didn't allow him because, you know, I love him so much, but he's a model. So sometimes he goes away to do his mom. I allow them some freedom, but you can't be leaving the job now. We can't do
Right.
that.
They can't leave the job.
Right,
Right.
right,
Right.
right.
You gotta
But
have
he
some
still,
responsibility.
he
Mhm.
wants to come back because not just because of that, because the freedom, like I don't treat my job like it's the plantation, right? I
Mm,
allow them to make mistakes, um, and learn. I teach them how to be leaders, and that's
mhm.
very important. And on
Right.
a job for some manufacturer or some Wendy's or wherever, they're not teaching you to be a leader. No
Right.
way.
They just want the
Period.
assembly work. They want the assembly work. You know what I
They
mean? And
want you to work there for the rest of your life, right?
mm,
They don't want you to think. They don't want you to achieve, right?
mm,
They
mhm,
want you a slave forever. And
mhm,
I teach hey, if you want to leave and start your own thing, some of them have done it,
mhm.
throughout the time. They all do, to be honest with you, since 1994,
Wow.
after what they've witnessed from what I've allowed them to experience, by Allah's grace and mercy.
Such another.
So, yeah.
That's 30 years, man, of empowering a young man.
Mm,
You've been empowering young men, enriching young men with the skills to be able to be their own man,
yeah.
right? in light of talking about, just, economics. You allow them to be their own man. They may have to develop some other skills. Maybe you're able to give them that. Maybe you're not.
Man,
Right.
I teach them. I like me. I didn't finish, but because I, teach meditation and how the brain works and life coaching for over 15 years, I went
Mm,
back to college just to learn some aspects of neuroscience. I didn't go because I wanted a degree. I went for a few years just so I can dig some of that knowledge out, right? I've
mm,
already been studying it for a long time. So, once I got into the classroom setting, I wanted to see, right? Learn.
mm,
I tell them, I ran my business and went to school at 4:30, and sometimes I would take like the 5:30 class, right? So I
mhm,
told them, you can take some college classes, take them in the late afternoon, right? And
mhm,
it's fun, right? It's amazing. I tried to register somebody the other day,
mm,
right? I'm like, you can do it during these times.
mhm, mhm.
And it's only going to take you a couple of hours. You're going to meet new friends. You're going to learn new things. You know what I mean? Get all you can get. I'm not opposed to it.
How do you inspire dedication?
How do you inspire? I mean, you better have a little bit of it in you already, right?
Mm,
You got to have a little bit of it in you already. That's a deep question. That I have to think on that one. How do you inspire someone to be dedicated, right?
right, because at the end of the day, that's what I think that's one of the things that we have missed, because of the workflow, the work life flow that takes place. That sometimes, oh, I can just let this go, and there's not a sense of dedication to it. I ain't saying you got to stay at one job forever, right? But the input of the work requires the effort requires
Mhm.
dedication, right?
Right.
And sometimes I think maybe we might be, sure, I know some older people, some elders who don't really have the dedication. So I'm sure there's going to be a younger crowd who doesn't have it. And how would be your thoughts? That's why I'm thinking your thoughts, because it seems
Well, maybe
because
you got. Go ahead. Go
because it
ahead.
seems like you are able to tap into it and get
Right.
people to have what looks like some longevity in what it is that they are doing,
Mhm.
which then
Yeah,
requires
you
dedication.
gotta be consistent, keeping your word, your own self, and being consistent with it. I remember you talking about dedicated. I remember I used to pass out my flyers and put them at the bus stops and put them everywhere, and like nobody would call.
Mm,
But they watch me, the youth at that time who are now grown, they
mm,
they know my story. They tell the story, like they watch me do that and just stay consistent with it, in which Allah tells you, it's the keys to success in the Quran. Allah teaches you to be consistent, right?
right.
Allah loves consistency.
Consistency. Right.
So I mean, being consistent and allowing them to see you in that process, and like never giving up until you achieve that. That's
Right.
like tapping into your faith. So be
Right.
an example. And that's what I would say: teaching consistency and being that example of what you talk about.
Hmm. We have a thing here, with the Get Made podcast, and some of the things that I do. We call it grounded masculinity,
Mm,
right? And is being competent, being congruent, having being consistency, having connections, and developing care,
mhm.
right? And so that is a pillar within this grounded masculinity, the consistency. Whatever you do, you have to remain consistent about it. They got to
Yes.
be able to set their watch to you. You know what I mean? They have to know, look, I don't know about what you're thinking, but that person right there, he ain't on that type of time. He ain't
Right.
gonna, like you say, you can leave anything you got of value
Right.
anywhere. The integrity is always consistent,
That's right.
right?
That's right. That's
The
right.
dignity is always consistent. Hmm.
And, and when their friends ask for employment, they'll
Hmm.
tell me, like, bro, If you hire him, you're on your own. He is
Right.
definitely not consistent. He's right.
Mhm.
They'd be like, "That's my homeboy," right?
Mhm.
Right. But
Yeah.
he's not about that life. So consistency, I guess, would be, I would say, just showing him, being an example of consistency.
Mhm.
And
So, well, the beauty of what we talk about here, and what I like about what you're talking about, Khalil, is it does feed into what we look at as grounded masculinity, because one of the first things you talked about first was being competent, having a knowledge base. You
right,
need to know, right?
right,
And then there has to be some congruency, and that's not, that's being aligned internally, right? What that alignment look like internally, having values, having honor, having integrity, having these upstanding, high frequency, high vibration values,
absolutely.
right? And then, like you say, the consistency piece, making sure that you do what you say you're going to do. Your word is your bond. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You show up. You're a man. You show up.
Yeah,
Take accountability for, even if you're wrong in something. You take accountability for it, right?
right.
And then, like you say, developing connections. How, as men, do you and we're connecting? How do we, I can cut somebody into you that's in your area. You can cut somebody into me who's in my area, and we can grow our network,
Right.
right? Of grounded men. You know what I mean? Men who are not looking at yesterday, longing for the yesterday, but understanding there is a tomorrow, right?
Right.
And then that brings about care. I have to, as you say, Allah is El Wadud, right? I have
Yes.
to have, and he's also Arauf. You see what I'm saying? He's
Right.
the caring, he's the compassionate, he's the kind, he's
Right.
the empathetic,
Right.
and he's the loving,
Come
and he's,
on.
he's the tolerant, he's the forbearing, he's the patient,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and so there's this multitude of attributes and names that he comes with that we
Right.
don't tap into.
We don't tap into it. We already have the success model right here in which he gave us. And if we
Mm.
tap into that, we're on the road.
Right, right. And I think the main thing is we got to have people start teaching that. And I think that's something that you're doing without saying, sit down, take this pencil and paper, and let me tell you about that's my what's it fat. You know what I mean? Let me tell you about this and this and that. You're
Right.
not losing them with that.
Yeah. Memorizing,
Right.
you know,
And
I,
regurgitating, memorizing and
yes,
regurgitating. Hmm.
I have Bengalis who work here at the gallery as well,
Hmm.
because I'm in a community right now in which it's, I mean, it's probably 20 or more masjids in 2 mile radius from where I'm at in this gallery right now.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, Bengalis galore, Bengalis and Yemens. And
Hmm.
so, they come in and, they ask for work. So I trained, I got a Bengali young lady that works here at the gallery.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and even with them, like, so now working with her connected me to the rest of the Bengali young men because they love her.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
So allow me into the culture, right? So
Hmm.
I'm seeing, like, they just like us, right? They got the
Right.
same issues as us. And
Hmm.
you learn a lot, dealing with these young people. You learn so much, and they
Hmm.
don't know, like, basic stuff. What I wanted to get at
Hmm.
is that the Bengalis go to learn, memorize all this Quran in Arabic, but they
Hmm.
can't tell you, not all of them, but many of them, who was Abu Bakr, who was Umar, who was Uthman, who was Ali. May
Hmm.
Allah be pleased with them.
Peace love. Mm.
I ask them a lot because I have access to them now. So when they come, I
Mhm.
ask them, you've been in Quran class your whole life. You don't know who Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who that is? Do you know the Fatiha in your original tongue?
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. They don't even know what it means,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but too many of them.
Of them, too many of them. Right.
Too many, too many. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the same with African Americans. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we stand in prayer all day. Allahu Akbar. We know Allah is the greatest.
Right.
But do we know the Fatiha in English so that we can kind of, understand what we're really saying?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no connection. So, you know, this is the positive side of this is the solution side of
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. So
Right.
we got to start teaching like that, and I think
Mm-hmm.
teaching that way really helps them because they didn't know that they're so excited when they find out the stories of Abu Bakr, the
Right.
stories of Khadija, may Allah be
Mm-hmm.
pleased with her. They're
Mm-hmm.
so excited. I mean, they're like little kids. Like when I start telling the story,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Wow, I didn't know that." They're
Right.
sitting in front of you like little babies, and you're
Right.
telling them the story. Same
Right.
thing with our people. When
Mm-hmm.
you're telling, do you know what the Fatiha is? Do you know what you're actually saying? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about anything. To you, Allah, we worship, and to you alone we seek help.
Oh my God. Powerful. That's a powerful line there, man. This whole thing is powerful. But
Oh,
just
it's
to
powerful.
pivot from that ayat to what's coming after that, man, is so remarkable. You know
Right,
what I mean? That
right.
we don't have a real clear understanding while we standing in prayer. And
All
that's
day.
why we don't connect to the prayers like we should.
And our kids, our children, we
Mm.
like, why are these children acting up like this? And we've taught them all this Islam. No, you taught them how to memorize things. You have not taught them Islam, right?
Right.
Because right, because they don't even know what it means, right?
Mm.
And then they don't even know what your check looks like going to visit an old lady or giving dawah to the
Mm.
boys at the gas station or
Mm.
feeding somebody. All they
Mhm.
see us doing is teaching, 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 and not doing, doing, doing.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
so, man, these kids are so intelligent. They
Mhm.
know what hypocrisy looks
Looks
like.
like. Mhm. Wow,
So,
man.
yeah,
Statement of the day right there. They know what hypocrisy look like,
yeah.
you know. And you know, you would hear a lot of them even say that, man, I ain't doing that, man. To me, it's just a hypocrite. It's a person just being a
Yes,
hypocrite.
yeah.
They say that, and you like, huh? How
My,
you gonna be like it? But
well,
that's what they.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
My friends come and visit the gallery and they see the Bengalis, right? And we
Hmm.
don't usually mix with the Bengalis. These Bengalis have been here. They've witnessed me give Shahada to Caucasians. They was like,
Hmm.
Khalil, I've never seen anyone give a Shahada before. So I'm calling them to help me as I'm giving a Shahada. They're like, they're lost. And
They
I
don't know
can
what to
read,
do.
I'm reading the body language. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
shoot, something's
Right.
wrong
I
with this
don't
picture,
know.
right?
You don't
Right.
know. Right.
They're
Hmm.
clueless. They don't even know what I'm doing. It's like, bro,
Hmm.
I've never even saw that before. But to get to what I was going to tell you, when my African American friends come here, they see them so quiet, but when they open up, they see, wow, you're just like us, right?
Wow. Wow.
Right, right.
Wow, subhanallah.
Yes.
That is beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You
Yeah.
know, we're gonna, Khalil, I really appreciate you stepping on this in this show. I had listened to you talk. So it's a video that came into mind as I end this segment. That was a young man. He's up in New York, right? And there's another Muslim, older Muslim. See the guy? He got earrings in his ear,
Hmm.
right? And he said, "You ain't no real Muslim. You got earrings in your ear, such. And he's a young boy, probably about 16, right? And you see the the young man's apparently he can recognize the young man is looking defeated,
Right,
right? He's being deflated, right?
right,
And so, the guy leave and the guy start talking, man, don't this and that. Then he pulled his hat up. He no longer had earrings in the ear, the holes are closed up, right?
Right.
And so he said, I got mine done when I was a teenager, and I stopped wearing it, some years ago now. And he said, what made you do it? He said, peer pressure. I was with friends. They was getting it done, I got it done. You know what I mean? He said,
Mm-hmm.
what made you close it up? He said, because I got closer to Allah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that I had to grow into. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And he said, how long did you have them? He said, I had my earrings for like 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then I was like 28 because he said he was like 16 when he did. He was 28 when he cut them out, right? Took them out. And so, but I go back to this thing that you talk about showing empathy, because that exchange right there, if he was to exchange numbers with that guy or whatever the case may be, more likely he called that guy, want to talk to him, want to ask him a question, want to, get some guidance from him or whatever it might be.
Can,
Right.
can I tell you something? Do I got 1 second?
Yes, you do. You do. And I'm going to let you take the last word out.
No, no, you're gonna take the last. I'm just tell you this 1 second.
But,
When I
okay.
first took Shahada,
Mm-hmm.
there I was so excited to go to the masjid to pray.
Mm-hmm.
I was a street guy. I used to sell crack, right?
Right.
So I'm I just took Shahada. I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, but I was living in Indiana. That's where I used
Okay.
to sell crack. So I came
Yeah.
back to Detroit. I put on this long garment,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends still on the block, they're like, boy, you ain't gonna never meet the girls. You're never gonna be able to do this with those clothes on, having all this peer pressure.
Right.
I still had friends, right?
Right. Right.
So it's time to go to the masjid to pray. And I knew this young lady by the name of Dominique. So I was
Mm-hmm.
riding my bicycle and I was like, listen, I'm going to the mosque to pray. And she's like, well, I'm going to ride with you. She has on Daisy Dukes. I'm a new Muslim. I don't even know the real dress codes yet, right?
Right.
I'm riding a bike to the mosque with her with the Daisy Dukes. I was like, okay, sit out here, wait for me. I'm going inside. I went inside, make salat. This mosque has a lot of scholars and a lot of African Americans, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was time, like, you know how we leave the mosque after prayer in a rush, and
Right.
she's sitting right there on the sidewalk. So when they open that door, that mosque open, they yell, Astaghfirullah, right?
Uh-huh.
It shook my world. But I never forget what the sheikh said when he was right there. He said, brother, I mean, of course, he could have said, hey, bro, be easy. But he
Mm-hmm.
was so merciful to me, right? He was so kind to me the way he addressed the situation
Right.
that, right, I didn't break. I could have broke
Right.
right there. He
Right.
was like, I mean, they are outside, right? So take it easy, brothers. Even though I know him now, he was really more stricter than that, but he chose to be kind and merciful to me. That
Mm-hmm.
really helped shape my Islam, right? I don't ride with the Daisy Duke girls anymore,
More.
but
Right.
it could have
Yeah.
pushed me away from Islam. But it
Mm-hmm.
was the way that he communicated with me at that time when I didn't know any better that was really a beautiful and a mercy in my life. So may Allah bless him.
SubhanAllah. I
Yes.
mean, may Allah bless him and grant him good in this life and the next. I mean.
Amen.
So with that, I want you to tell the people how they can reach you, and how they can kind of purchase your book and go from there.
Again, my book is Meditate to Elevate. You can find it on my website, motivationalmuseum.com. Again, that's motivationalmuseum.com. If you're ever in Detroit, you can visit my art gallery. It's open from 12 to 6:30 every day. It's called the Motivational Museum. You can find me on Facebook at Khalil Muhammad and on Instagram at colossal underscore poetry underscore lounge. And I forgot if we still have TikTok, it's at the at sign
Right,
at
right,
Khalil Heals,
right.
Heals.
Yeah, because we're doing this, actually recording this segment the day before it's supposed to go out, right? So
Man,
you know, that's a good. I'm glad you said that. You know, to be honest with you. So, you know, just in case they decide to keep it, they know how they
Yeah,
can reach
that's
it.
the case.
Yeah, for sure. So this has been another great segment of the Get Made podcast. Uh, we are committed to bringing spectacular guests, knowledgeable guests, people who just not whistling Dixie and blowing smoke at you. Nobody's going people who are going to be authentic and genuine where they're coming from and what it is that they have for you in store for you. And of course, we are here every Monday at 7 p.m. here at the House and Clay on Facebook and on YouTube at the Get Made Podcast. And by all means, again, my book, please purchase, help me out, support me,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes,
purchase
sir.
this book. And so, again, it's Taming the Storm, um, Understanding and Overcoming High Conflict Personalities for a Peaceful Life. You can actually get it on Amazon in paperback, and for those who like the electronic, you can actually buy it in Kindle, right? So we got it. We want to, and I got a new surprise coming for everybody. Shake, I'm gonna turn you on to this probably when we get off this segment, but I got something new probably in about 2-3 weeks. I'm gonna introduce something new after this about this book as well. So please, I've always continued to support, continue to support. And we're going to see you back here on the Get Made podcast. And y'all have a great night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.